Hey everybody, Bruce here from Andis. Today I'm going to be cutting a basic kind of a taper haircut on my son since we can't get to the barber. Caveat, I am not a professional. I'm just a parent of 4 kids trying to keep them from getting too shaggy during this quarantine time. So today I'm going to be using a clipper, a trimmer, and a foil shaver. So today I'm going to be using an adjustable blade clipper, and this is the NVLI clipper. We make it in different colors. Essentially what an adjustable blade clipper is there isn't a lever, and you can adjust it. The blade can be closed like it is now, or you can push the lever down and that opens the blade up so that it cuts a longer length. So what that does is when you are using attachment combs, an attachment comb is just a plastic guard that goes onto the clipper blade, and they range from a very long size like a number 8 here, which leaves the hair at a 1-inch length, and they go all the way down to a 0 guard, which leaves the hair at 1/16 of an inch. And the way they go on, it's very simple. You take the end of the blade and you snap it in. Just a word of caution, if you have some guards from different manufacturers or clippers, they don't necessarily always fit on the same brand, so they aren't necessarily interchangeable. So make sure you're using the plastic guards that came with your clipper. So before you start cutting the hair, make sure that you have a game plan. I always like to try to lay out my guards from shortest to longest so that I know which one I'm grabbing. Make sure that the hair you're cutting is clean. Make sure it's clean and dry, because that will feed through the clipper blade the best. Damp hair typically does not work really well with hair clippers. If you have a really powerful clipper, which I have a pretty powerful clipper here, you can get away with a little damp hair. But by and large, the clipper likes a nice dry hair so that it feeds through the blade and that you get a cleaner cut. So the way I cut hair, I've watched a lot of the barbers on the Andis team clip, and I generally go from the top and work my way down. Some people, you can go down and work your way up, however you want to do it. But think of it this way: there's like 3 major sections here, and you'll cut in a band. So you'll take your longer comb, your longer attachment guard, and you'll do this panel along here, and then you'll step down to a smaller, shorter length, and you'll work your way around the sides and the back here, and then you'll go down to a even shorter guard, and then you'll work this area in here. So you kind of, the way I like to think about it is you have 3 different sections, and then in between those sections, you'll need to blend it a little bit to make sure that it's a nice gradual taper. So I'm going to start out with a number 4. I'll probably actually go a little shorter. This has been the longest in between haircuts that we've gone, so let's just try a 4. And as I'm cutting here, kind of the motion is what some professionals call it a C-stroke. Some people equate it with scooping ice cream, but it's a up and out motion. You're going up and you're moving away from the hair. You can see I'm starting to cut a little section along here. And you can see I'm starting to get a little line, which we'll blend out a little later. So Emmett wears his hair over like this, so I'm just gonna kind of pop it out of the way with one of these grippy strip things that you can get from the Andis website. You can get from a variety of different beauty supply shops. And a little comment here on calyx and whorls. Sometimes you can see the hair is going this way, it's going this way. Sometimes you'll just have to take the clipper in a couple different directions to make sure that you get that hair cut evenly. And this is a good example where the hair is coming forward here. So instead of going straight up here, I'm going to kind of take it in at a little bit of an angle. Okay, so because Emmett drags his hair, he parts his hair this way and keeps it long, I'm going to turn around, and I've been cutting against the grain. Now I'm going to go with the grain to kind of blend it down a little bit. All right, so we cut that first go around with a 4. So now I'm stepping down to a 3, and I'm going to go just a little shorter, working this section here. So little tip here. The nice thing about an adjustable blade clipper when you have the guard is on, you have a 4 and a 3. Okay, so what about that in-between spot? The in-between spot is where you will open up that lever, right? You will push the lever down and it will make the blade a little longer. So that gives you the half step between the 3 and the 4. So right now it's a 3.5. For closed, it's a 3. So I'm still on the 3. So if I needed, you can see there's kind of just a little bit of a line. I can open it up, kind of go in there a little bit, polish it off so there's not such a strong line. All right, so I'm going to put a 2 on now, and my blade is closed. The 2, and I am going to work here from the nape of the neck up to this bump on the back of his head, which professionals will call the occipital bone. So I'm gonna work this little section down below here. A note about the nape here, a lot of times you get hair growing in different directions. You may need to go different directions to make sure that you get that cut evenly. We're going to continue around to the side with the number 2, just staying low around in here, the lower part of the, I guess, edge of the hairline, if you will. And then again, if I open that up, that's a little half step. Oh, I left it open. Let's go back down. Just bend the ear down and get in there. So you can see now there's a little bit of a line between that 3 and that 2. So I'm going to open up my clipper with the number 2 guard on it and kind of polish. Here. Something if you like the hair to be straighter as opposed to tapered out, you can kind of eyeball that. So I have a little line here too, so I'm going to work on polishing some of that out. All right, so that was kind of a 4, 3.5, 3, down to a 2, 2.5 in through here. We could be done. If you wanted to, you could take it shorter and kind of work your way down to like a, this is a 2. You could go to like a 1.5 and work yourself down to 1. Now I'm moving on to my Slimline Pro Li trimmer, and the trimmer is to do the detail work for the light fine tuning, if you will. The clippers for the bulk removal. Then when you've removed the bulk of your hair, you're going to detail it with a trimmer. So I take this trimmer and I'm going to look at his hairline here. Grows a little longer. I'm going to try to take the I guess the average kind of point here and put a line straight across. We're not going to do a natural finish. We're going to do a little more of a harder line, artificial type line here. A note that you would never want to like cut up in here, or if you see the kind of where the natural hair grows, you would never want to artificially chop up high into the hairline. Try to keep that hairline as natural as possible. Neck down. My eyeballs on so I can see a little better. Switching to a little blade brush here that is great for cleaning brushes, but it's also nice for really aligning those little bitty hairs. Some people will use it for fading. So I've done the line here, hopefully straight. So I've defined that line, and then what I do here is I find this little kind of bumpy bone. See how the hair grows around the arch? And I'll go ahead and I'll kind of just make a little slightly angled line to follow the hairline. So I've done that and this side, and then I'm going to move around to the side and get the sideburn etched up, and then I'm going to just go around the arch of the ear with the corner of the blade. That's why a T-blade style trimmer is really nice, because you can get into those tight spots. One point about trimming the over the ear, the arch of the ear here, how I usually do it, I usually take my finger and I'll do kind of the back side to like 9 to 12 o'clock. Then I'll stop and then I'll go the other side. So work it 2 ways, here to here and then here to here. And don't cut up, you don't want to cut up super high. That's the old phrase, you got your ears lowered, right? Don't want to cut up super high. Again, try to keep it natural to where the hair wants to grow. So we basically have worked these panel sections. We've defined the outline of the nape and the sides here. So we could be done, or if you look here, there's a pretty good hard line here, which there's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm going to do is I'm gonna take that just a tad shorter through here, because you see there's some like kind of thinness here, just the way his hair grows, and then this is a little thicker. So I'm just going to polish that up. So I'm going to start out with if you'll recall, I did a 2. So the next step down from that is a 1.5. And instead of starting with that closed, I'm going to start with it longer, just to see how it cuts, if I'm cutting. So I'm just going to work this bottom kind of inch section. Not getting a lot of cutting, so I am going to close that. All right, so that took just a little bit off to kind of make it a little more consistent around the bottom. More or less, that's done. The only thing that I do next is I take a foil shaver. This is the Andis Profoil shaver, and I usually undo the cape, and then I'll just kind of polish up the stubblies. Get all the stubbles off. Profoil shaver, it's a great little tool. Lastly, I'm just gonna finish up with a little Andis uppercut pomade to kind of smooth everything out and see where we're at. I kind of took some length off of Emmett's bangs right here. What I'm gonna do is something called point cutting to add a little texture to it, so it's not a hard line, so you don't have the Dumb and Dumber bowl cut on your head. So what I like to do is I just take it in between my two fingers, and then take your clippers and just pop it in, pop, pop, pop. Beauty of doing this with clippers is you can't cut yourself. It's totally safe. So that's something you can do. Just put a little texture in the front so there's not that hard line. The hair is drying out in the sun, so this is getting a little tough. So I'm just tapping it about every quarter inch. So Emmett has really thick hair, so when he combs it over, we like to use kind of a wider space comb to kind of give it a little extra texture, feel to it, a little extra body or whatever you want to call it. So we've got the sides, showed you the back, and the nice thing is I really didn't have to do a lot on the top, so we'll just continue to maintain the back and sides until we can get in to see our favorite barber.